fellow sci-fi enthusiasts. My name is Nick, or Nick Stens as I'm known on YouTube, and this is the Sci-Fi Super Show, Episode 9. Now, before we get into anything, I just want to say two things. One, I'm going solo today, because no one else could apparently be on my podcast. And secondly, this podcast will hopefully be more sci-fi oriented or something around that area than it was last week. Last week we got off topic to an extreme degree that I hope we never have to go back to. That being said, we're gonna kick things up a notch and say in talking about Terminator. Now, Terminator is a series that I grew up with. It's a series that most people recognize Arnold Schwarzenegger for. It's what launched his career, along with Stan Winston, the effects god who did all the effects for Aliens, Predator, Jurassic Park, Iron Man, just to name a few. And James Cameron, one of the greatest directors of our time, and especially, if not the best, sci-fi director. Ridley Scott's the best one in my opinion. That's just mine. But this week, we're going to be talking about Terminator, seeing that I've been seeing a lot of Terminator activity lately. And I'm speaking literally. Because, I'll just start off with the first topic. That being, the NSA named a secret program that they had. Now, whether this program is still active or is gone or whatever, they named this secret program Skynet. And I mean, why would you go, the NSA names something that's a secret program Skynet? Just go back to Terminator 2. It was Cyberdyne in Terminator 2, which is the pre-Skynet of that series. It's trying to do something that's similar to what the NSA is doing. I'm reading an article here on a Facebook page from a Facebook group called Infinite Earths. And if you have a Facebook, I recommend you guys to go and check it out, because it is awesome. But what I'm reading here is that okay, this is what I'm reading. Unlike the Terminator version, which is a computer system that went rogue and attempted to annihilate humanity, of course, the NSA's Skynet uses metadata to try and identify people with terrorist connections. Now, it says it's nothing like Terminator Skynet, but I can't help but feel it is kind of similar. Because the use of Skynet in Terminator 3, not the best Terminator movie, in fact it could very well be the worst so far, but it's still okay. But I mean, in Terminator 3, they were using that to track possible terrorist sites, and Skynet then locked onto those targets, but it would have to find those targets first. So it would have to identify those people somehow, and if the NSA Skynet does this exact same way, that's kind of scary. I'm sure we're not going to have any kind of full cybernetic organisms walking around, a lot of people that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger going up and be like, I'm seeing a lot of me out here. I don't like it. Anyway, Pakistan the program tracked the movements of people within Pakistan from cell phone records and raised a flag when those activities appeared to match the movements of suspected Al-Qaeda couriers. This is I could see like the NSA doing this normally, something we expect them to do, I guess, but to name it Skynet is just like, What are we doing? What are you doing? Have you ever watched Terminator? This is an exaggeration, of course, but me being a huge fan of Terminator, I was like, Skynet is real! Skynet is real! Even though it's not at all real. It still felt like it. And as I'm reading here, it's not destroying humanity yet. Which hopefully it never will, and probably will never will. It's just a funny thing they name it Skynet. Maybe they are making cybernetic organisms. They're making cyborgs. Maybe they are. Maybe they're plotting against humanity right now and they don't even know it. I need to watch the Terminator series again. It's been a long time since I did, and I need to refresh my memory on it, because I think I'm forgetting a few things here. But yeah, Terminator is one of my favorite series, and having the NSA name one of their top secret programs Skynet is just brought the fanboy out in me, so can't help it if that happens. I'm sure you fanboys or girls or whoever just, if they heard something like that, they'd be like, oh my god! Oh well. Yeah, so that's it for that. I saw that like yesterday on Infinite Earths, and it's just like, that is odd. Anyway, the main topic here today, aside from the other topic I had, is the Terminator time travel system. Now, my knowledge on time travel comes from Back to the Future, mainly. And it went as, in the movie Back to the Future, it went as, I guess, as simple as this. There's a set timeline. This is disbanded in the third movie, but in the first movie, there's a set timeline there right in the center, right in the center of the time where they go back. That's X, and that's 1985. That's when the movie takes place in present time. They go back to the past, and they make a small change that affects the rest of the timeline, and as Doc Brown says, it skews into a tangent and makes a new timeline. Now that kind of makes sense, but it also doesn't, seeing as that it probably would have just altered the current timeline, not making a new one. It would just transform the current one, making the last one like non-existent. And then if it were to rechange, making the first change not happen, it'd be the set time. But in Back to the Future 3, there is no certain fate. It's what we make of it, which Terminator did point out. So, time travel in Back to the Future seems, well, compared to Terminator's time travel at least, is a bit straightforward. It's not as complicated as Dragon Ball Z's timeline with Trunks and all the other multiverses or whatever. But, here's the Terminator time travel thing. You're in the future, and you can send a person back, and the person being sent back can't wear anything at all. Because if they do, it'll be singed off their bodies. They can't wear clothes. I don't know why they still have their hair, since hair is dead, but whatever. And they get teleported back into a certain timeline. But in Terminator 2, we see in fact, Terminator 1 had this also. You saw the future war being fought. And then when the Terminator and Kyle Reese are sent back, the future war is changed to a certain amount. In Terminator Salvation, that's the actual future war that's part of the Terminator 1 and 2 past series. Not the future where the original characters were sent back from. So it would, again, like Doc Brown says, it would be an alternate time, but it wouldn't be part of the same point. It would be a completely different path, as in two different timelines, started from the beginning to the end. And Skynet's goal here was to send back a Terminator, kill John Connor, so that he wouldn't create the war against the machines, and the machines would take over the world completely. And this is flawed, because if they do kill him, they'll have no reason. to send a Terminator back to kill John Connor. So then John Connor would exist, and then they would have to send a Terminator back, and it would just be a endless paradox. But with that claim I said earlier about there being two completely different times, you can send someone back. And if they do kill that person, it only changes that current timeline, not the timeline they were sent from. This is where it gets really confusing and mind-boggling for me. But, time travel as I see it shouldn't really be, like... Time travel shouldn't really even be possible anyway. Because if it does, it's technically going to immediately destroy everything. But, until someone creates a time machine or can time travel like Hiro Nakamura on Heroes, we're just going to have to go by these sci-fi movies like Back to the Future, Terminator, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Doctor Who, and a few other things I can't name right now because they slipped my mind. But time travel is a really complicated thing. And whichever one you really want to follow, if you are having these imaginations about traveling to the past or to the future to do something or to not do something or just to observe, I can't really say which is better, which is worse, except I guess I can't say which is worse. The worst one would be if you would immediately destroy everything. That would be the worst one. But, Terminator time travel is just so interesting because it's a lot like Dragon Ball Z's, because when you go back in time, or to the future, that's a completely different timeline than where you're from. And if you change something in there, it'll change that current time. And when you go back to where you came from, nothing would have changed. It would remain exactly the same. Now, I'm only speaking for Terminator and Dragon Ball Z time travel. But I mean, like, in Back to the Future, they're saying, like, there's all one straight timeline. You go back, you change something, it creates a new timeline, but if you rechange it, it goes back to normal. That seems fine, I guess, but it doesn't seem logical in timeline sense. It seems like it's more predictable, I guess, if it is like that, but I think the Terminator one is more logical, at least in its science fiction part. But that's just me. Big fan of Terminator, big fan of Back to the Future, big fan on time travel. And, yeah. Remember when I said that this was going to kickstart back into sci-fi immediately? I was not lying. Just in case you thought I was. So, yeah. I'm by myself. I was going to have Will with me today. And, maybe my brother Alex. Probably not. But I was hoping Will would be here with me talking about this stuff. Because I'm sure he has some interesting things to say about this topic. But I feel like I've already went over, the NSA having a program called Skynet. And Terminator time travel. But I was also going to ask Will on his Alien update, because he does need to watch the rest of them. And I want you guys to comment down below and saying what movies he should and should not watch from the Alien and Predator series. I've already given my opinion to him. I want to know what you guys say. I want a majority vote here, considering it was just me saying it to him, and Houston Houston saying it to him at one point. But don't go by him. He hasn't seen him in a while. I feel like I'm going to watch Terminator, and then Terminator 2, and then Alien, and then Aliens, and then Predator. That sounds like a summer plan. A set summer day plan to watch key sci-fi movies one day. That sounds like a great plan. Because, alright, out of the Alien, Predator, Terminator series, my top 10, or top 5 really, would go as this, starting from 1 to 5. 1 being the best. My number 1, easily would be Alien. one of the best, if not the best, science fiction movies of all time. I love it. Millions love it. Critics love it. Future filmgoers love it. Everybody seems to agree that Alien is a masterpiece. Number 2 would be Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is so much better than Terminator 1, in such that it pushed its own boundaries that it set in the movie before. And it just introduced so many new things. And introduced how a new Terminator that's liquid metal could come in and actually blend into society, and we would never know it. That being Robert Patrick's T-1000. And we thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was the bad Terminator, and Robert Patrick was the good guy. But then when they met, they freaking fought, and we knew who was on the good side and who was on the bad side. And it had a huge climax where Arnold's arm gets broken off, spoilers, and he rolls up on this machinery, and he has a grenade launcher, and has the Terminator theme playing, and he just aims it at him, and explosion! And he gets pushed into lava, and the T-1000 starts screaming. Argh! I love that movie. It's huge, and a much bigger improvement on Terminator, which I'm always striving for improvement after the last movie. If you're going down after your first or second movie, you're not doing a good job. You need to keep going up. You need to keep making these great leaps, and you need to make them pay off. Because when you do, you become the next Ridley Scott or James Cameron or Steven Spielberg or whoever. I love that movie. Number 3 would probably be Predator. That being because 3 easy things I can name. One is a Schwarzenegger movie. It's a Schwarzenegger movie to where he actually fits in, could actually be considered a really good watch. And a taken serious sci-fi really good watch. Total Recall isn't really that. Predator is. You don't really watch it as a Schwarzenegger fan, unless you weirdly do, but you mainly watch it for the Predator, the sci-fi creature that hunts anything without fear. You watch it for that. It's not another Schwarzenegger movie, it's a Predator movie. And how the Predator hunts all these humans, or the crew rather, only the crew, and the people in the helicopter in the beginning. He hunts all these people, but in the end, the Predator became the prey in the sense that Schwarzenegger had to become the Predator himself, making man the most dangerous game of all, like that old saying. Because, sure, the Predator killed a number of people, but Dutch Schaefer, on the other hand, has killed, say, a lot more. In that early scene of the movie where they infiltrate the base in South Africa, or not Africa, I forgot where it was. It's been a while since I've watched it. But yeah, Central America. That was it. I don't know. I'm sorry. But when his group attacked that area, he just went through Rambo style to shot everybody. In fact, he freaking got out his knife and threw it through somebody's sternum, sticking him to the wall, saying one of the best quotes ever, "Stick around." He killed a lot more people than the Predator did, I'm sure. But the Predator has been on multiple hunts, and he may have killed more, but Dutch has been on a lot more missions too, so I'm sure he killed a lot more people. So it's really Schwarzenegger that was the actual Predator of the movie. The Predator was actually just an alien monster with awesome technology. I love that movie. It's great. Easily the 3rd favorite movie ever, of sci-fi at least. Number 4 is Jurassic Park. I mean, come on. Need I say why? I mean, it seems everybody loves this movie. It's very clear why everybody loves this movie. It's just, words can't even describe it. Why is it my number 4? Because I just like Alien, Terminator 2, Predator a lot more. I feel like they're better quality movies. Well, I shouldn't say better quality movies. I should probably say personal thought. It's my own personal opinion that I like these movies more. Not saying I hate Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park. That's why it's number 4 here. I could pop it in my PS4 and watch it every day. And I'm super pumped for Jurassic World. I'm like one of the people you'd walk up to saying, "Have you seen the new Jurassic World trailer?" I'd be like, "Yes!" Yeah, I love it. I love it. My 5th favorite. This is a hard one. This is a really hard one. I would probably say, yeah, I'm going to say Star Wars Episode 5 in particular is my favorite Star Wars movie. And it is my favorite, it's my 5th favorite sci-fi movie of all time. Because, again, just like Terminator 2, it brought in so many new things. It pushed the boundaries of its first movie and expanded its universe in degrees we couldn't even imagine back then. It pushed the boundaries of special effects like puppeteering and animatronics and, one of my personal favorites, stop motion. I love this movie. It's so awesome. It's so funny at times. It has a great story, great characters, great mythos, great fight scenes. It is so awesome, and the ships are just so awesomely designed, and the Super Star Destroyer that was introduced there as a substitute for the Death Star, that was just one of the best things I've ever seen in a sci-fi movie, is that giant Super Star Destroyer. Next to all these normal Star Destroyers, which in the first movie looked pretty big by themselves, and now they're compared to this massive giant. It's just great. It's just great. Not to mention, and all these movies actually have some pretty great quotes. But Episode 5 has one of the best out of any movie. "No, I am your father." I guarantee anybody that saw the first movie that was watching this in the theater the day it opened was like, "Oh my god, holy shit." I know I did when I first saw it. I was like, what? Yeah, I love all these movies. I love Alien, Terminator, Predator, Jurassic Park, Star Wars. I love a lot of these movies. And I couldn't really see myself doing this podcast or making any animations or, I guess, really being on YouTube anyway with the 800 subscribers that I've amazingly gotten. I want to thank you all for that. I really do. I'm hoping to get more so I can get the more inspiration to animate more. I haven't been able to because of class finals and all that. But I do have plans for animations I'm going to make over the summer. I already have 2 storyboards made about a Predator fight and a claymation, which I'm wanting to make. So just stay tuned for those. And I pretty much went over every topic today. Actually, while I'm talking about this, I'm a little late on uploads. So I'm uploading last week's off-topic cast right now as I speak. Of course, when this one's uploaded, it'll be already there. But I'm seeing it as like 25%. Yeah. So, I feel pretty good about doing this podcast. Kind of wish that I had somebody to talk to here, but you gotta make sacrifices sometimes. You can't compromise your work for small things like that. Yep, that's pretty much all I have to say for this week's podcast. I am so glad that all of you wanted to stick with me and watch my videos and listen to this podcast and continue watching it up to this point, or probably just skip ahead because you're a cheater. But that's all fine. I want you to also put down below and see... Hang on. Let me rephrase that. kind of messed up there for a bit. I want you to write down below your top 5 favorite sci-fi movies of all time. I told you my 5: Alien, Terminator 2, Predator, Jurassic Park, and Star Wars 5. I want you guys to do the exact same thing, except put it in a comment down below, like the video, favorite, do whatever you want. I just love the support. You guys are awesome. This is the Sci-Fi Super Show, episode 9. I think I did say 9 at the beginning of this. Not entirely sure. Hope I did. I will see you next week with, hopefully, other people on here with me, and hopefully I have more topics. Also, that Skynet thing, it's real. See you next week.